Greetings, everyone. Welcome and thank you so much for being here with me today. Let me do my mic check. Make sure. We're going to be starting tonight on our live stream. And I'm super elated to be here. Thank you all for being here with me as well, showing up on this live stream. You are now tuned into the podcast of Dr. Dorina. And here we're going to talk today specifically about what happens when a person decides to want to become better. How do they start that process? Where does the ideas come from? And how to get them put on the right track. I know we have a lot of loved ones, family members that we want to help. And once they realize that they need the help, that is the part that we must play. So welcome. Thank you so much for being here. So tomorrow we will be talking about our first week of Universal Messages, where we're going to talk about lessons of leadership. And in those in those messages of leadership, we're going to talk about the components that helps one to become better in their existing of becoming a leader, their existing areas of becoming a leader. So please join us tomorrow. And I want to say that live will be 6 p.m. as well on all social media platforms. We'll be live on all 3 platforms, okay? So let's get right into the topic today. Thank everyone for being a strong advocate to helping yourself. My success steppers, I'm so grateful that you are here. So when we want to help someone improve, we have to use an area of a step-by-step instruction. It's a breakdown that's going to help with the growth process that is going to give clear ideas, give clear topics, okay? And you can use this to gain progress, regardless of whether there's areas of learning skills. You know, you want to teach someone how to become a better person in a relationship. You want to teach someone how to become a better communicator in business. You want to teach someone how to become better at communicating altogether. These skills are very necessary. And when a person finally decides that they want to change, but they don't know how, a lot of time there's an embarrassment there. There's a void. There's a discrepancy where someone maybe would feel as though they're not competent enough because it does not come immediate. Well, this is what tonight's topic is going to be about. How we're going to help to show them that this is a area where everyone has to practice in order to persevere through. Challenges are very serious, and that's what we're going to be working on tonight. So come on in. If you have any questions or would like to put comments, please don't hesitate to use the comment box below. So self-awareness is one of the very first initial steps to understanding where a person is. If a person is self-aware, then they're going to be more receptive and more understanding to a growth process. It's going to strengthen their confidence. The habits are going to be known. They're going to know themselves. They're going to know that they're, feeling some type of way, whether they're feeling, upset or whether they're feeling angry, whether they're feeling, disassociated from life, depressed, isolated. All of these things are going to be habits that they're going to immediately know that they're doing. So being self-aware is one of the greatest components to helping with the habitual practices and tendencies that hold us back. Once we realize that, see, a lot of people can't go from the blame game. they can't get deep to the inner value of who they are. And that's what's holding them back. So they will never be self-aware until they realize that they're actually holding these habits and tendencies and traits within their character. Looking at their personal values and goals from where they are at that particular moment in time. Personal values and goals are not competitive. They're not, oh, because everybody else is doing this, this is the norm. No. Personal goals and values are set primarily for the purpose of progressing forward in wherever you are. And there is no learning style, learning technique of how to go about doing this. You just, it's like driving a vehicle. An experienced driver is experienced because they practice on a day-to-day basis and they get better and better. So identifying one's starting point is the first step and the key to understanding why someone or how someone needs to change to become a better version of themselves. I think this is a very positive area to look at. Once you realize your self-awareness, now you move into what it is you're going to try to change. You're going to move into the changing setting. And in this, it's going to clarify what needs to be improved. You're going to journal. You're going to put dates down. You're going to start a program. You're going to promote yourself in a way that makes you say, what commitment and dedication are you going to provide to yourself? And that's one thing about universal leadership. Universal leadership is not about doing it the way everyone else does it. It's about doing it your unique way based upon how it will impact and affect the universal order of things, planetary, processing. And that's what I want you to understand, that there is a way to see yourself growing by, just doing little things, writing affirmations to yourself, short-term versus long-term goals. You may not want to say, well, I'm going to get on the treadmill for 1 full year, okay? Or I'm going to take a walk every single day for 1 full year. You might just say, I'm going to take a 10-minute walk today. Or I'm going to get on a treadmill for 5 minutes today. Or I'm going to cut down, certain types of food, certain types of, beverages or different things like that. That will help in the step process of becoming your better version without you having to know exactly how to do it. You know what I mean? So this is the step that you want to take. You want to take specific, measurable goals that really are important to the topic and relevant to where you're going, and achieving that to an ultimate degree. So that's a very powerful place to be. And it's motivational. So be specific and target that value. So let's look at it from a personal point of view. So as Dr. DoRinaShine, I'm writing my ebook. I'm going back over some of the highlights of things that I need to incorporate to remember that I've experienced in my life. So what I'm doing is I'm not like going so deep in my past to where I'm stuck there because of some type of failure. I know failure exists within my past, because it does, because we're all human. Guaranteed, if you've lived long enough, you've made some mistakes. It's not there that I want to focus on. What I want to focus on in going back into my past is to see how far I've come. That is just the area of destination, like making sure I didn't, step over any unteachable moments. I want to be able to make sure that I deserve to be here because I've dotted all my I's and I've crossed all my T's. Again, not perfect, but persistent. Another good thing, and I'll get over to the chat in a few more minutes. Another thing is remembering your self confidence. Even though you have the idea that this has happened or that has happened, you take that moment, that teachable moment, and you experience it, you feel it, you embrace it, you honor it for what it has shown you, no matter how embarrassing. And then you move from that position into the area of awareness, and then the confidence, and then the building of the next phases and steps. That is how you're going to persevere. So, in my ebook, I am looking specifically and strategically over what has made me who I am today. And a lot of the mistakes is what has made very teachable moments in my life. And I want you to consider that. Don't beat yourself up. I don't beat myself up. I tell myself, well, when I was in that moment in my mind, in my life, I did my best. And if you really genuinely did do your best, there's nothing else that life can require from you until you make that change. But that's how the transitional processing behind making the change is going to awaken you to become and know that you need to make that change. And then resilience, being able to, overcome these setbacks, the things that were supposed to keep you stuck, embarrassed, isolated, depressed. You've gotten out of it. Wow, that's super amazing, because most people will be stuck there for a very, very long time. Don't get stuck in that area of setbacks. And you want to know that you've overcome some things. And the way you resonate there, when you move to that step, you're going to start positively speaking life over you, over your past, over your circumstances, by being aware and noticeable to how you are going to more or less go back and change it. There's going to be a lot of self inner work you're going to have to do. So in this inner working, you're going to have to positively affirm to yourself that you really are going to make your health, make healthier, better choices, make more communicative relationship comments to your significant loved one, a better parenting structure. You're just not going to run away from it, because that's what makes the continual strategy of deploying or depreciating the value of the self-talk, because now you're faking it to make it, and there's going to come a time where life is just going to alchemize in a way that is going to be a karmic eye opener. And when you receive that karmic eye opener, it is there that the reality is going to be sitting, waiting for you, no matter how many years it's been. It's going to feel fresh, as just as if it has happened the day that you thought about it. So be mindful of the self-talk, be calm, be very confident about what you say, but also be very mindful of how you tell yourself the stories you do. It's best to just be open. And that's the process where we go back to the self-awareness, the habits and the tendencies that we personally do on a regular basis that we're embarrassed of, that we kind of keep buried deep within. That's where that intrinsic value versus that extrinsic value comes into play. So you got to identify that starting point, get clear, motivating targets, and then you have to have that self-confident attitude. For me, coming back as an ex-convicted felon who has a lived experience, who has now closed the door to the case of the state of Ohio versus drdorinashine, now is implementing her life to a degree of continual, motivational inspiration and speaking to those who are going through what I've already been through. So it's always a great indicator that you have grown when you can talk about your own scenarios and build experiences that others can review. They can go back over my life. They can look over my life. They can see the choices that I'm making today versus the choices that I made back then. The depression, the isolation, the incompetent feeling, the because of the doors being closed, I just opened new doors. And over here at Dr. Dorina Shine, everyone has the capabilities and the understanding and the value to move themselves through a place where they can really use their experiences to share strength, hope, and integrity. Not hiding behind morality, thinking that someone is better. Absolutely not. But literally doing the work. That is amazing. When you can do the work, you've acknowledged the growth, you've set up the standards for your life, and then you move forward. It's just awesome. It's an awesome time. So that's what I wanted to share tonight. Not a long live. I just wanted to see, how everything was going out in the live world on YouTube, and just see if there's any questions that may come to your mind while we're on the live. And I really give a shout out to the individual who asked the question through a conversation that we had a couple of days ago regarding, well, if I'm trying to help someone do something, how can I help them become a better person if they don't know how? That was a very great question. And the only thing I can say to you is do not beat yourself up when you realize that the person is not ready to change. Even if in their hearts they feel, yes, I'm ready to change. And then maybe they're in some type of relationship that you wouldn't consider to be a good relationship. Okay. It's just not a good relationship, a not good fit. We are not in control of another person's decision. So whatever they choose to do with their lives, no matter if they go back to something that we would never ever tackle in real life, it's okay. Allow them to go back. Allow them, even though you know that there may be some real sinister things that could happen if they do go back, allow them to go back so they can learn. Because if they are not aware that they don't need to go back, they're in a cautious area in life. And so instead of you becoming the villain in their story or a hater or, someone who's trying to block their love, allow them, step back, allow them that opportunity to learn for themselves. And as soon as, they come back, it's up to you whether you want to let them know, well, we've been here, done this before. So I'm only here to support you in a way that I feel confident in supporting you today. I am not going to use a lot of my energy, my space, my time, my health, my wealth, my finances in order to support you when, I had already kind of gave you a little bit of the red flag pointers. Now you're an adult, you do what you do with your life. But in that scenario, you are allowing them that same opportunity to come to an understanding for themselves. So they can't blame you. They can't point the finger. You just do your part. Be supportive. That's all you can do. And a lot of times when people are not ready to change, they will look at you as the enemy no matter how much you try to support and help. And that's the part that we want to grasp onto tonight. Holding that in abeyance and realizing you're not the dumping ground, you're not the garbage disposal. If you realize you're not the garbage disposal, you have to learn how to handle what you're going to do with the information that people bring to you that maybe could deter you from your positive feedback speaking to yourself. You got to make sure you're still going to be able to say, this is not my life. This is not my story. This is how they see their lives. And it's okay. Let's keep going. Let's keep moving. And once you are there, there is a targeted self awareness that is going to consistently put you at a measurable balance to where you will not feel guilty, you will not feel regretful, and you will not feel that you failed, even if they go out and do the opposite, the very thing that you suggested for them not to do. And that's what happens. And those are the two steps that I would like to really, really hone in on tonight's podcast is that self-awareness is the best rule of law. And until that person understands that they have to break those habitual tendencies down in order to become their better version, they'll continue to go through that learning phase. And then number two, building that confidence and belief in yourself to know that either you're going to make the decision to become a better person or you have chosen to stand off and allow that person to grow in their own lives how they see fit. I hope this helps. And if it does, please click the like button, share, subscribe, comment to the video. And I will be on again tomorrow. And we're going to be talking about universal leadership messages and why universal leadership is so very important. Because as you grow to become your better version, you're going to need these specific laws and rules of bettering yourself morally, ethically, emotionally, spiritually, and physically in order to be able to be who you are when you show up for yourself. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.